and welcome to Usborne. I'm Shauna Zollinger, and I've been with Usborne for a lot of years. And I'm really excited that you've decided to join Usborne. And I'm going to quickly do a home show demo, because the first thing you want to do when you get started is quickly do your first home show, probably within a week after getting your starter kit, so that you can take advantage of that first 12 weeks when you get to double the free books, so that all your friends and family can double their free books on their home shows as well. So first, just to preface that there are lots of different home shows. There's very simple ones. If you're nervous about doing anything at all, the most simple one is just to have your guests come and say hi, come look at the books, pick one or two and take them back to your lap, and then just go around the room and have them tell what they liked about them. That's probably your simplest home show. This one I like because it's simple and easy to learn, yet the people who come to your home show who've taken time out of their schedules to come to your home show will be educated and really know the groundwork of Usborne books by the time that they leave. So just know that there's many types of home shows, and this is just one. If this doesn't fit your personality, you can go online to the trainings and find other home show demos that might fit your personality better. First thing is to come 30 minutes early, and there's several reasons to that. You want to get to know your hostess. I like to look around her house, look at her pictures, ask her questions about her husband, and be there in time to really get to know her. So when I tell her, you'd be really good at this, have you ever thought about becoming a consultant, that she trusts me and we've become friends. So, and I usually do in that first 30 minutes, ask my consultant, now did I ask you if you've thought about doing something like this yourself? And depending on their answer, I usually will say, well, watch me tonight and see how easy it is, and we can talk after. And kind of to recruit your hostess. But if you walk in 10 minutes early and you're frantically throwing up your kit and guests are showing the same time, then you never get that opportunity to really talk one-on-one with your hostess more at the show. Okay, so I borrowed my family today, so if you hear them in the audience, they're here listening, and I'm going to ask them some questions as we go along. You want to talk to people as they come in the door. You don't want to sit in the corner and wait until everyone's there and start this formal thing, because a lot of your home shows will be more open house style, where someone comes in every 15 minutes, and by the end you've had lots of people, but you don't ever get them all at once. Sometimes if people have come in and I don't get enough to start, I'll say to my hostess, Kira, you let me know when to start, and I'll start whenever you're ready. Then that way the people that were at the show know that I start on time. So when I do their show and they book a show, they can tell their friends, well, she does start on time, she is there on time. So you don't start this later schedule and be very professional. The more professional you can be with your hostesses, the more professional that they'll be with you, and that can be very handy. So you want to talk to the people as they come in. Ask them questions like, how do you know the hostess? How do you know Kira? And if they're neighbors, friends, what are the ages of your kids? So you don't have to take the time to go around the room and do introductions, because that will cut into your demonstration time. And then anytime there's a bulk of people there, whether it's right on the hour or a few minutes after, I'll just go ahead and say, do you guys mind if I just take a few minutes to tell you a little bit about Usborne, so that I don't need to say it over and over to each of you individually? And always they'll say, sure, go ahead and start out. So when I do start my formal presentation, I like to first introduce Usborne. And it's okay to have a card. I have a card tonight so I don't forget to tell you anything important, and I tell the people at my home show that too. I have a card so I don't forget to tell you anything that's really important. So first, Usborne's been around since the 1970s, so they're not a new company. The nice thing about that is they're sold in over 100 different countries. So the price on the back of the book, the $4.99 on this one, $7.99 on most of them, the price on the back of the book is the same price as you'll sell in the store. The stores will sell them for. So they're not overpriced for the home-based business. And being sold in over 100 countries for 25 or 30 years now means that we have a catalog full of bestsellers, because if the kids like them, they keep reprinting them. And now all of a sudden we have this huge catalog with 1,400 plus titles of all hot sellers. Okay, so I started years ago to purchase the textbooks for my husband that was in college. And now I do it because I have 5 children and lots of dental bills and orthodontist bills. And sometimes I'll pay the mortgage a lot too. So I started out to keep my husband in college, and so then you introduce yourself. So that's kind of my introduction. I have 5 children. Right now their ages 9 to 19, but I started when I had one 1-year-old. So I've seen Usborne through all different phases and absolutely love every single phase. And now I like it because I can work the same hours and get paid more each year, because it has an unlimited income. So if you're thinking in your budget in your family, if you could use an extra $100 to $400 a month to start out, let me know afterwards, and I'll hook you up on a great deal. Okay, I'm going to show you why I love Usborne, and then I'm going to show you how to get the best price for them. Okay, so first I'd like to ask for a volunteer. Maybe Ray. Okay, I'm going to give you 10 seconds or less and describe to me in as much detail as you can, okay? Your bedspread. Mark, set, go.
It's white and red, and it's checkered, and it is soft and fluffy, and it's a more darker kind of red than lighter and bright.
Okay, perfect. Okay, now remind me to tell you why I did that. Now you've heard that there's 3 types of learners. There's visual, auditory, and kinesthetic or hands-on learners. Have you heard that before? I'm not just making it up. Okay, just checking. So first visually, I'm just going to run through each one real quick and show you how Usborne tries to put them into all the books, because as Peter Usborne is the founder of the company, he knows he's competing with television and video games, and he knows that books need to be just as exciting and just as fun, but he does believe that children love to read and love to learn. So first visually, I like to show That's Not My Puppy. This is one of our most popular series. And every book I show you, know that there's 4 to 24 others in that same series. There's 32 of these, I believe, in that same series. So you pick the series you like, and then when I'm done, I'll give you the catalog, and you can pick the title that your child likes. For example, That's Not My Puppy, That's Not My Penguin, That's Not My Truck, It's Not My Train. There's a whole bunch of these, so you can pick the one that your child likes. So this one, the black line for the visual learner, is so that the babies can see it better, the contrast between the two. So you can set this in front of a 3-4 month old and they'll be able to see the picture better. The black line and the visually for there. And then also for visually, one of my favorite things is our nonfiction. And a lot of our books now, we color the backgrounds different colors. Do any of you know why we do that?
Mm-hmm. Why?
No, I don't know why. Thanks, husband. We do that because they did a study years ago. It's called Irlen Syndrome. They used to find out that children who they thought had a reading disability actually had a sight-brain problem. White reflects all the colors, so their eyes weren't able to sort the colors, so the letters would swim around on them, and they wouldn't be able to. They thought they had a learning disability, but when they covered the page with a cellophane of a color, it straightened out the letters, and they would be able to read. Now that's just a small percentage of the population, but in the course of that study, they found that your eyes don't get as tired as fast if you put a cellophane color over the book. So if you want to stay up all night long reading your novels, just buy some color cellophane so your eyes don't get tired as fast. So that's for the visual learner. Also the text wrapping that you see here, the visual learner is going to be enticed by the picture, and you can see some pretty cool pictures in here. If the child doesn't get the question that picture raises answered quickly, they put the book down. So right next to it, the smallest text is the explanation of that picture, which hopefully will raise another question, which will cause them to read this and read this and read this and continue to read. So nonfiction is very important. You can't raise a child's vocabulary level past 5th grade very easily without nonfiction. So you want to start getting nonfiction in the home really quickly. Our youngest nonfiction starts at this one. See, the age group goes by the text and the photos, but you don't want to stick with pictures or books that are too young for your child. It's okay to buy things years older that they can grow into and their vocabulary, because you'll want to read them out loud to them. It's good to read out loud to your kids a couple levels higher. So don't get too hung up on the age level. And then this would be the highest age level of nonfiction, and so you can see the difference between it's basically font size and picture size. So that's a higher level nonfiction. Okay, so that's for visual learners. And then the second one is auditory. Auditory is your ears or the text. So auditory, I like to show a couple things. When your child's done with a frog on a log, big pig on a dig, fat cat on a mat stage, this is one way you can save money with Usborne as well. Frog on a log is $6.99. It's one of my favorite stories. He falls off the log in the fog, with the dog and hog. And the next day he puts suspenders on and tells him to bump into him even though it's sunny. Is Frog trying to be funny? And they bump into him and the log rolls and he falls in and he's all agog. Frog is agog. Now it is me who is silly, a silly frog. So super fun books. If you're going to get any book, if you have preschoolers and you're going to get any book, this is going to do the most academically for your child to hear the different sound effects. Phonemic awareness they call it, to hear the different sounds. So when they're ready to read, they can read faster, and a child can't learn to read unless they've learned to rhyme. So this book has Frog on a Log in it, but instead of being $6.99 a book, which make it like $144, it's only $1.60 a book. For $19.99 you get all 12 books and a CD that's just fun to listen to in the car. and to turn the pages when they're reading themselves. So when they're done with the frog and a log stage, the next stage is second grade. This gets a little bit harder because they're out of their phonics and they hit the words that don't follow the rules anymore, and so it's one place where you can lose a lot of children in their reading. So this is called a Turnabout Reader. This is meant to help catch them. There's 2 levels of reading, one level on the top and one level on the bottom. So you have the child read the top and the adult reads the bottom. The child reads the top and the adult reads the bottom. So if the child reads the top and they get stuck on balloon, they don't catch the comprehension of the story, you reading the bottom catches them up on the storyline. So they go into every page caught up on the story. And so about 3/4, you'll know when they're ready for this. It'll be about second grade and they'll say, Mom, I don't want to read. Right when they start to say they don't want to read. Because every kindergartner loves to read. And then as you go to 12th grade, that drops clear down to like 9% of the kids actually love to read. And you lose them at different steps. So I like this one too because it grows with your child. There's a little duck hidden on each page, so the little 2-year-old can find the duck, 3-year-old can find the duck. Or if you want to go to bed faster, you can just read the top and go to bed faster. Has a built-in bookmark, so you can know where you're at, so you don't have to read all the book every night and to your kids when you're falling asleep. And then as they get older, the 3 and 4-year-old, you can read the top and the bottom, and then you can pull it back out when they're reading themselves. And this is another big combined volume that would cost you lots of money separately, but together it's only $24.99. There's 20 stories in here and a CD that plays the stories as well with the sound effects. So that's for the auditory learner. The other thing for auditory learner is the text wrapping that I talked about in the nonfiction, how the text wraps around the pictures. Okay, and the last one is Kinesthetic. So I'm going to use this book again because this is a great way to show you how Usborne puts visual, good auditory for the auditory learner, and hands-on. On each page in here, right here, it reminds you, if you go to this website, tell them what book you're in, what page you're on, all the links that have to do with taking charge come up. So there'll be 2 to 8 websites per page, and they'll go movies, tours, games, everything on that subject for that age. The last one I went to was a virtual tour of a pyramid, and it was CNN.com. So it's not Usborne sites, he just links them to healthy, safe, academically educational sites for the kids. Super fun. And then also you can print the pictures. If they have a little star by them, that means you can print that picture. So that comes in very handy when your son or daughter says, I have a report due tomorrow on static electricity. You can look it up in the book, have your book, have your 45 websites, and have your pictures printed all at once. And we have a children's encyclopedia for only $16 that covers all of the elementary school except the math. So we have that one too, I can show you. So that's one thing for the kinesthetic learner, because they read the double page spread, then they can go online and play, and the computer counts. Kinesthetic is hands-on, using their hands. The computer counts as using their hands. Some other ones that are fun for kinesthetic, there's a mouse about the house or a squirrel's tail. This teaches the kids to go from left to right in reading and to follow the dotted lines, and he goes in the page and he comes out on the next page. So he goes in to see Mr. L and comes out on the next page. The 2 to 6-year-olds love to do this over and over and over. 27 cardstock pages, and it's only $10.99. It's a really good price. And if you lose your mouse or squirrel, we put our label on the back of your book. You can just, with your phone name and phone, my name and phone number, so that you can just call me and I'll mail you a new one. So don't worry about that. And we also put it there because we carry a half-price guarantee that the stores won't do for you, and that is if your child ruins the book, we'll replace it for half price. And if it's defective and breaks before you think it should have, we replace it for free. But if the child leaves it outside for the winter, takes it in the bathtub with them, glues the pages shut, cuts pages out, those are all things that have had happen, you just call us and replace the book at half price. Okay, so that's kinesthetic. There's a couple other kinesthetic things that are super fun. I really like The Secrets of the Apple Tree. This is a fun one to read at bed at night with your kids. If I don't drop this, I'll see if I can demonstrate this. Every page poses a question, and you answer the question. This says, who does the tail belong to, by shining the flashlight through the back. It's really dramatic in a dark room with the kids. And there's 32 pages, and it's only $12.99. It's a biology book. So that's kind of kinesthetic, not only turning the pages, but shining the flashlight behind them. So that can be a fun one too. And you're welcome to pass around books. I'm not going to pass around any tonight because I want to stay up here. But pass around books at your home shows. Sometimes you feel, I think the biggest thing is to have fun and be enthusiastic. And that's actually not in my personality. I had to learn how to be enthusiastic. But getting in front of the books always gets me excited about reading to the kids. So one way to fake enthusiasm is to talk a little bit louder, a little bit faster, and to use hand movements. So if you don't feel like you're an enthusiastic person, your homework assignment would be to go watch an infomercial, and don't take away 100% of what they do, but take away 10-20% of what they do in their loudness and their fastness and their hand movements. Just watch that, and that is what feeds the enthusiasm. So I brought that up because passing books around to your customers and then pass the books around is movement and enthusiasm. Okay, so I told you there's auditory, visual, and hands-on. And so, like, for example, back to That's Not My Puppy, you have all three in here. You have the visual, the black line. You have the auditory because it's predictable text. That's not my puppy, its tail's too fluffy. That's not my puppy, its paw's too bumpy. The preschooler will memorize it. And then you have the kinesthetic with the touchy-feely and the double-boarded, extra laminated for the quality, and being a $9.99. Okay, so there's lots of, I can show you tons of that have all three, like the ones that we have. He tries to put them into all his books. So the reason I asked you to describe your bedspread, and you can do this to any of your guests at your show, watch their eyes, and I time them for 10 seconds, but not really, that's just to put the pressure on them. If you watch their eyes, if they look up to the ceiling, they're probably predominantly a visual learner, wherever they go first or most. If they look eye level to themselves, but to either side, they're probably auditory learner. And then if they go down in their lap and maybe even use their hands, they're a kinesthetic learner. Sometimes I've had people look me straight in the eye and not look anywhere, and I'm kind of going, okay, and they just look me straight in the eye because they're just so confident. And if that happens, I just tell them, I didn't know what you were because you looked me straight in the eye. And it isn't scientific, but it's fun, and it's usually correct. So you can go home and find out, not until kids are 6, 7 years old, but as soon as they start school, you can ask them to describe their bike and watch their eyes and see which way they go, and that will help you do your homework with your kids. For example, spelling words. A visual learner will want to write them 5 times. That's what I like to do. If my husband says, how do you spell this word? I have to write it down and see it in order to spell it back to him because I'm a visual learner. Auditory learners can spell it out of the air. My youngest son is an auditory learner, and I can say a word while he's running in the other room and he spells it out to me. He doesn't have to write it down at all in order to spell it. So that's more of an auditory learner, can just repeat it. And then a kinesthetic learner will actually need to like play hangman or write it in the sand or just be walking around the table while they tell it to you. So just if you're aware of what kind of learner your child is, it helps you pick out better books. Okay, so I want to give you the 4 top ways to raise a reader. First is that they see you read, so you need to stop reading while you're napping, while your kids are napping, and read while they're awake. I know that's hard, but let them see you read. The second thing is to read to them, and that's at least 20 minutes a day, but more if you can. And sometimes at a young age, like 18 months, 2 years old, you might have to break that up. It might have to be 10 minutes while they're in the bath, and 5 minutes while they're in bed, and 5 minutes before nap time, and once in the morning. And the third way is to have books in the home. It is a direct correlation to how many books are in the home to a college degree level that a child will have. It does max. You don't have to have 5,000 books in your home, but it's important to show the value and have all kinds of reading material in your home. And the fourth one, which really intrigued me the most, was ready access to pens and paper. And that intrigued me why ready access to pens and paper would raise a reader. But I found the answer when I was reading a study on kids where they put the little brain waves on their brain when they're watching TV, and like 10% or less of their critical logical thinking brainwave is moving, but when they're being read to, that is 30-40% higher. And I found out that it's even 30% higher than reading when they're doing art and drawing pictures. And so that's how it's the same part of the brain that they're going to be drawing pictures and coloring is that they're going to use to read. So we have tons of really great art books. Then you could show the doodle tin of your first step-by-step drawing. I can draw animals. You can show any of those when you tell them about the art. One thing I did forget already was in the kinesthetic, the flap books are very kinesthetic because they need to open the flaps. There's 7 to 8 flaps per page here for the kids to read. These are the ones that are always open in my house with my 9 and 11-year-old boys. And they've actually proven that children retain more information from a flap book than from a normal book. So I absolutely love our flap books, especially if you have a kinesthetic learner or boys. Or the Lift the Flap word book. This one's great for the child who hasn't started reading sentences yet, but have started reading words. So you can read frog and pick it up and see if you got it right. Or even a younger child, you can say that says cat. Which one over here do you think says cat? And they can match the words and find cat over here and pick it up and see if it matches. Let's see it upside down. So that's a super, super fun one. And yes, it does have flaps, but remember we have the guarantee that we'll replace it for half price if your child rips them all off. And they're being very kinesthetic, they'll use those a lot. Okay, so now I'm done. I could stand up here for 2 hours and show you every single book I brought and reasons why I love them and the experience I've had with my children with them. But I am done. I'm going to pass out a catalog and a questionnaire. If you can fill out, so this is what I pass out. And what I forgot to mention in the beginning, as they come in, I usually, on the table or next to them, I usually have some blank pads of paper so they can make a wish list. And I paid my son to stamp every single piece of paper with my name and website, so if they don't get all the books tonight, they can get them later. I'll explain that later. Okay, so now I'm all done. And I like to say I'm done because then they think, wow, she only talked 20 minutes. When really I've got a good 15 more minutes to go, but it's all on business. So I've shown you why I'm all done. I've shown you why I love Usborne. Now I'm going to show you how to get them for the best price. So if you could fill out, and I pass this out to them, just the catalog and the questionnaire. If you could fill out this questionnaire for me real quick, we'll use that to give away a free book tonight. And then I also want to play, while you're writing your name and address in, I want to play a quick game. This is called My Wild Animal World. And I want to see how my kids do here. Because we've done this before with them. I love this one. It has little books come out with a little puzzle. Fill in the missing word. I am a penguin. I eat fish. My home is Antarctica. My baby's called a
Penguin. Chick.
A chick, right. I am a crocodile. My home is a river. My baby's called a
Lizard.
hatchling.
Hatchling.
Hatchling. What about a snake? I am a snake. My home is a hole. My baby's called a
Hatchling.
snakelet.
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 I did not know
Yeah,
that.
so see all the vocabulary that we're learning just from this one little game? Think how much vocabulary your kids will learn if you get them an awesome book like that. That's a fun one. Okay, so now you filled out your name and address. Number 1, would you like to be on my email list? That is just once a month email, and it's really a great place to, the home office can give out some awesome specials, and that's a great place to hear about those. So it's only once a month. Circle yes on that one. And then number 2, suggestions on my presentation. That just helps me learn my presentation. A lot of teachers have helped me come up with things that reasons the books are great. And if you have any suggestions there, that would be great. Number 3, would you be interested in receiving free books by hosting a home show? I've actually never had a sad hostess. According to the sales that they've got, they've absolutely loved what they get. I usually drop off a box of books for their customers and a box of books for the hostess. And let me give you 2 flat examples to show you how that works. If you only did a $100 home show with Usborne, that's way below average, but something happened and you only did a $100 home show. If you book it tonight, you would still get, give my brain a second, $50 in books for only $12.50. So $50 in books, that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 5, 50. So you'd still get $50 in books for only $12.50. But if you reach the special, which is awesome this month, which varies from month to month, but in July it's actually double free books when you reach $350. So if you did a $350 show, you would get, give me just a half a second, 60, $135 free and $75 at half price. So over $200 in books. So take this times 4. I probably grabbed the rest of my display here about this high, times 4 in books for only $37.50. So you can see why hosting a home show is a great advantage. You can show the great books to your neighbors and friends and learn lots about reading. Okay, so circle yes or maybe if you want free books. Number 4, would you be interested in earning money by becoming an Usborne consultant? Like I mentioned in the beginning, you start out probably making $100 to $500 a month, but the more you stick with it, the more you make with an unlimited income. A couple reasons why I love it is 1, you get to set your own hours. So that has really been flexible as my kids have gotten older. I've been able to reschedule around them. And also there's no monthly minimums to stress your family. So it's only a great thing. So if you want more information on that, circle yes or maybe. And number 6, do you know of anybody interested? Some of the other programs that we have are Reach for the Stars, which is a reading incentive program where the children earn books for reading. That's a really fun one. So if you give me any leads down here that gives me some more work, I'll reward you in free books. For example, if you were to help me find a corporate book fair, I like to go into businesses and set up this display and sell the books to their employees, and then I give 50% of the sales to the charity of their choice, which is usually United Way. And inside the book I'll put a label that says, this book was donated by the employees of. So if you land a large corporate book fair, I'll give you free books, or a small one, I'll give you free books as well. We also do fundraisers. We have greeting cards and birthday cards that they sell for $1 a card, and the organization gets to keep 43% of that, which is a box of 30 cards, so they get to keep 43% of that, which is great, for only $1 a card. And then if you don't want to do a home show, but you know your sister or your neighbor would love to, and you give me their information and they end up booking a home show, I'll reward you with free books that way. Okay, so then I go around the room and collect all the door prize slips and trade them. I trade them for an order form. So that's when I give them their order form. I trade the door prize slip for an order form. And by that point, you've given them the catalog, you're starting to lose their attention. It is okay to grab their attention back. I do it all the time. I do it constantly all night as they're shopping. I'll say, I forgot to tell you about this. Oh, I forgot to show you the learning wrap-ups. Or I forgot to show you Jonathan James and the What If Monster. And I just kind of show them individually at their families. And also know that we do have books for older kids. I have all of my favorite series of chapter books here. So we have Helicopters is great for the older boys. So I'll go around individually, those that have older kids, and show them specific chapter books for their older kids. And then collect the door prize slip. I use this to give away a book. And usually I just give away a Panda in the Park and an older chapter book and a younger chapter book. I just grab those three and let them pick which one they want to have. So I use the door prize slip, grab someone in the room, usually the hostess, and say, here, will you draw someone? And if someone is not filling it out, they've started delving into the catalog and aren't filling it out, I'll come up to them and say, do you mind filling that out just real quick, because we want to do the drawing before somebody has to leave, because you want to get all these back in. And then sometimes if it's a huge room and there's lots of people, I don't even look at them. I just, as I check people out, because I tell them I have a calculator. When you're ready, I'll help you fill out your order form. I'll go around to each of them individually and not look at the door prize slips that I've collected, and I'll just say, oh, you know what, I didn't get a chance to look at those door prize slips. Are you interested in getting free books by hosting a home show? I always like to say free books first. Are you interested in getting free books by hosting a home show? Not, would you like to host a home show to get free books? Because the free books, you want their brain to say yes first. So are you interested in getting free books by hosting a home show, and asking them individually? And I have booked home shows with people, and then later on went to get their address off the paper and they'd circled no. So you don't want to rely on this, but if there's only 3 or 4 people there, I usually will just glance at it. And then I see that someone's marked maybe, so I'll come up to them with, as soon as there's no more questions being asked of me in the room. Oh, and one other way, see, I do this a lot at my home shows, I say, oh, and one other thing. We do have some customer specials, and I'll show them the customer special sheet. I forgot to grab one up, and it's over there, but I'll show them the customer specials and explain that. That's another way to save money. So I've shown you several ways to get really good books at a great price tonight, and then I let them go and shop. And if it's kind of quiet and they're not looking through the books, I start to grab some more and set them on their lap and say, oh, you have to see this one. Oh, you have to see, you have to sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. That 18-month-old, you have an 18-month-old, right? They love to push buttons. And these tabs up here are so that they can turn the pages better. It's easier for them to turn the tabs than to turn regular pages. So there's time, you can show every single book and just start showing them around till they mess around the room and have books all over. And then I go up to the person who said maybe on a home show. I do the maybes first and then the yeses, because the yeses I can probably get no matter what. And the maybes, I come up to them and say, hey, Kara, I noticed you're interested in doing a home show. Can I show you what you get? And I pull out this is in your kit, your hostess home show guide, and I just start going through the things. I say, this is the chart that the free books come off of, and I grab a pen and I start writing on it. This is the chart. You do need to reach 100, and you would get that, if you schedule it tonight, you would get that $50 in books for only $12.50. That's $25 free and $25 at half price. And then up here in the corner, I just start going through the things. There's also half price books, and I just write on here. So for every 100, you get 25 at half price. There's monthly specials, like right now, for example, because I'm new, I get to double the free books on any home shows that reach 250 in my first 12 weeks. But don't tell them the first 12 weeks. Just say I get to double the free books on any home shows that reach 250 in the next month, so that they book in the next month. And then after you go through everything on here, you also get booking rewards for everyone who books a show. You get $20 in books for only $5. So that's how I go through these 4 things. And then I just hand them that, and I say, here's your hostess packet. There's 5 order forms in there, so that you can collect orders from those people who can't make it. You'll want to ask them, can you make it? And I'll write that on the outside of the envelope, in parentheses, can you make it? Because you want to get a yes, no, or maybe out of them. And then the yeses and maybes, you'll give them a reminder phone call the day before, and the no's, you'll say, if I get you a catalog, would you like to place an order? So what I ended up doing, calendar, I mark it off the days that I want to work or square it off. and the days that I have home shows are already written in, so they know I have this date or this date, which one of those would work for you. And usually they'll say, oh, I need to look at my calendar, or oh, I need to talk to my husband. I'll say, well, pick a date tonight and call me on Monday or call me tomorrow if it's not good. But let's pick a date tonight so that you can get that extra $10 free. Because that's our company policy, because you're the company, so you can make the policy. And my company's policy is if they schedule that night, they get an extra $10 free. It's going to cost you more to mail them a packet, and it will actually, when they go home, if they don't give you a date, even though they say they're going to do it, when they go home and their son breaks his leg and their husband has something happen at work, or they have something else happens in their life within 3 or 4 days, you call them and say, so what date would you like to do that home show? They'll be like, no, I can't do it now. But if you get the date that night, then they usually will stick with it. So I'd say the two things, the most important things at your home show to do is get that booking date for that home show that night. Even if it's your sister and she says she'll call you tomorrow, say, I have to get the date tonight. You can move it tomorrow, but I have to get the date tonight to give you the extra 10 for free. And the other thing is just to have fun, just to have a really great time, show them the books, compliment them. You must be a great mom because you take out just as much time to pick your kids' books as you do to pick their clothes. And that'll show your kids a great, what do you call it? Great value on reading. So then I thank them for coming as they go out the door, and thank your hostess. As soon as most of your people are gone, usually there might be one that's hanging around, but by 9 o'clock, feel free to start cleaning up your books. It kind of sends a signal that I need to get home, and they'll start visiting. And then before I leave, I turn the customer specials paper over that I'm going to leave with her, and right on the back, I take the orders home and I'll write, Susie ordered this much, Lucy ordered this much. Count it before shipping and tax, not after. You want to count it, and I'll tell her that. We're counting the amount before shipping and tax in order to reach that $250 to double your free books, or $500 that your goal is to go for. Count it before shipping and tax. Then I add it up and say, wow, look at that. You're already at $229. What are some people who said they were coming who didn't come tonight? Oh, well, my mom was going to come, but she got sick, so I write down her mom's name. My neighbor was going to come, but her husband called and had to do this, so I write down her neighbor's name. And so-and-so said she was coming, but I don't know where she is, and I'll write down her name. So here you've got, and Susie left before she got her order, and she had to go somewhere. So you've got 4 more people to get orders from. If you get those 4 orders, you'll for sure reach the double free. Or let's say they're only at $100. Well, if you get 4 more orders, that should get you to $250 according to what people have bought so far. And do that with your hostess so she knows, I just need to go talk to these 4 or 5 more people. If you don't do that and you leave and they're at 119 in sales, and you don't coach them through that you're going to make it, then a lot of times they don't do anything, they don't make a single phone call, and you call them back 4 days later and they have the exact same orders that you had when you left. And I could have closed it that night. So break it down for them and let them see that it's realistic, that they can reach the special. And then point out sometimes, you know what, you have 2 people booked a show tonight. You only need 1 more, and you can get a set up to $40 in the catalog for free. Is there anybody else that you've talked to that might want to host a home show? Just some questions. So I think if you watch this video once or twice and write down your questions and call me with your questions, that you'll be set and ready to go on your first home show. And if you decide this is too much, then just have your guests come up, pick a book they like, and then go around the room and have them share, and that works just as good. Luckily, you're selling a product that doesn't take a lot of convincing. You don't have to be a salesman and convince them what to buy. You just need to help them find what they want. Okay, good luck, and call me with questions.